we're down by.
You guys ready?
Who's gonna?
Wait.
Okay, you're good?
Yeah.
Thank you. Good evening and welcome to this September 8, 2025 meeting of the Village of Lake Bluff Board of Trustees. Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Ryder,
Here?
trustee Hatch.
Here.
Trustee Freed,
Here.
trustee El-Shammaz.
Here. Thank you. Please stand and join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next on our agenda is a proclamation declaring the week of September 15th to 21st, 2025 as the CTRAX Think Train Week. Whereas CTRAX Think Train Week is to be held across the US from September 15 to September 21st, 2025. And whereas 2,252 rail grade crossing collisions resulted in 749 personal injuries and were responsible for 268 fatalities in the United States during 2024. And whereas 1,465 pedestrians trespassing casualties have occurred in the United States, resulting in 821 pedestrians being killed and another 644 injured, while trespassing on railroad property rights of way during 2024. And whereas educating and informing the public about rail safety by reminding the public that railroad right-of-ways of private properties, enhancing public awareness of the dangers associated with highway rail grade crossings, ensuring pedestrians and motorists are looking and listening while near railways, and obeying established traffic laws will reduce the number of avoidable fatalities and injuries caused by incidents involving trains and citizens. And whereas the International Associations of Chiefs of Police, National Operation Lifesaver, Inc., United States Department of Transportation, and all local, state, county, and railroad law enforcement officers, first responders, and railroad corporations commit to partnering together in an effort to educate at a national level all aspects of railroad safety, to enforce applicable laws in support of National CTRAX Think Train Week. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Régis Charlot, Village President of the Village of Lake Bluff, Illinois, proclaim September 15 to 21st, 2025 National CTRAX Think Train Week in the Village of Lake Bluff, and I urge all citizens to recognize the importance of rail safety education. Thank you. And we are a train community, and I'm always distraught to hear some of the kids of our community crossing the train because it's faster to go from east to west. So let's be adults and let's, if we see a kid crossing by, stop them, please. Thank you. Next is the consideration of the minutes of the August 25th, 2025 Village Board meeting. Is there a motion to approve the August 25, 2025 Village Board minutes?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Are there any changes? It's a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. The motion carries. Next would be our non-agenda items and visitors. The Village President and Board of Trustees allocates 15 minutes during this item for those individuals who would like the opportunity to address the Village Board of Trustees on any matter not listed on the agenda. Each person addressing the Village Board of Trustees is asked to limit their comments to a maximum of 5 minutes. And I believe we probably have a few people willing to address the board tonight. Please state your name and your address.
Pam Russell, 448 Gurney Avenue. I unfortunately brought the wrong jump drive that had a video to produce a little levity. If somebody in the crowd has it in their email and can email it to Drew, maybe it could conclude my talk. We're here again in hopes of pushing the board to action on banning the gas-powered leaf blowers except for fall and spring cleanups. In June, we presented a petition signed by 430 plus residents, a number of whom are in the audience tonight. The ask is simple: a minimum 9-month ban and reduced hours of use. This aligns with the goal of the regional working group to set similar schedules to eliminate landscaper confusion. 6 of the 9 other communities, or 10 if you include Lake Bluff, and the regional group already have a 9-month ban. One has a full year ban. Let's put this in place effective December 1st, 2025. After 7 years of our attending discussions on this issue and celebrating positive progress with a partial ban, it seems the board is now pursuing delay after delay. Last fall, the SEC recommended a full year ban. Your board rejected that. The SEC then recommended a 9-month ban. Your board decided to postpone decision-making since the summer ban was soon to start. You asked village staff to reconvene the regional group to discuss progress and get input on experience registering landscapers and other experience with their bans. I spoke to Drew a couple of weeks ago to check status because petition signers keep asking me what's going on with this topic. At that point, the regional group had not completed its meetings. I was told an expensive proposal from an industry group to collect data on speed and effectiveness of gas versus electric blowers during the fall and spring cleanups was under consideration, but likely cost prohibitive. Assuming this is to help determine when to move to a full ban, please don't let it delay the more immediate ask for a 9-month ban aligned with the 6 other communities and for reduced hours of use. We're tired of the delay. The past 3 years of summer bans have proven that landscapers can adapt and quality of life is improved. From December through March, the argument for needing gas-powered leaf blowers is weak. Other communities are already there. Just do it. Start the ban. 9 months, beginning December 1st. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
Anybody find that video? You could play
Oh, I've got it. Hold
a
on.
little bit.
Stand by. I
Thank you.
Is it video?
think it is.
Well, while you're doing it,
Yeah.
perhaps somebody knows off the top of their head, have all 6 of the other communities agreed to the same dates for the 9 months?
I think it's really close. I think it is. I have to go back and double check.
It's
I
all the
think it
same?
is.
Yeah. Okay.
The study was for the 12-month phase, by the way.
The study, yeah, the study that Pam just talked about. Yeah, yeah.
Actually, it does. It includes, there's 2 elements to the study, if it's all right. Yeah, so there's the proposal that Pam mentioned is from the industry professionals and as well as some an engineering or science. There's a group that's going to be collecting the data. It's kind of an objective third party to collect the data. And it came back, it was in excess of $100,000 to do a spring and fall test. And the idea is to try to get a handle on with a super hyper local Chicago North Shore data to find out if in fact, can there be periods where battery powered equipment can manage the cleanups necessary, I'll say necessary in quotations, based off climate and trees and the type of density and all the factors that affect it. And so that's the scope of work. And a lot of that initial proposal was received, and there was it was initially shared with the entire band of municipalities, and a lot of people dropped off because the costs were so high. And so now
the handful of communities that are still saying they're interested in collecting that data, the price can be somewhere $15,000-$17,000 to collect the data. And the question is, how valuable will the data be?
Mhm.
And so there was an idea that the group reach out to other agencies that may be advocating for more strict regulations that relates to leaf blowers or other environmental groups that may benefit from the data collection to try to find other spenders, people to be willing to throw some money at this to help get this done to achieve the initial goal of getting the data. So that's where it rests right now. A lot of communities are just now starting to have that conversation. But I just got the email last week saying, hey, this is what the probable cost could be, but it's $15,000.
And that data would be useful for the full year ban, but might also be useful.
Well, the idea is there's a lot of concern from the
Because what I understand.
from the community of manufacturers of equipment and from the industry professionals that provide the services that the equipment is inadequate to manage in our particular location of the climate and the material and the type of trees we have in our areas and so forth and so forth.
Can you please, if you're gonna speak, you need to step to the lectern.
So, yeah, so I don't have, but the idea is that it's still in flux. The study's still ongoing. The data's not there. I'll be bringing to a report to you soon, but that's the status.
Right.
Hi.
Mike Bushio, 665 Maple Avenue. I think the study is maybe interesting, but not necessary. If somehow we get by without leaf blowers of any kind for decades, I'd ask this board to, I think you already know what decision is the right decision, and I would ask you to consider what kind of community Lake Bluff is and wants to be. I mean, you have a vision for that, and you make decisions to align with that vision. And I think I think we all know what kind of community Lake Bluff wants to be, because you've already supported and made decisions that came from citizens and committees to do things like become a Tree City USA. Why? Because we value our trees, we value nature. We spent some money to document our trees, to make sure that we're sustaining our trees. We have people that are passionate about our legacy trees and all our trees. We're funding replacement of trees with ones that'll be natives and sustainable in the future. So we're doing that because it creates a habitat. We are in Lake Bluff, along the lake and the bluff, and we have beautiful trees, and they sustain our wildlife, our birds, our insects. Last year, we became a Bird City USA because we value our birds. We're on a migratory path here. We're blessed to be along the lake. We have thousands of birds migrating, tens of thousands every year, and sustained by our trees and by our natural environments here in Lake Bluff. And we value that. That's why we became a Tree City. The plaque's downstairs. And recently, because the number of active people, some of them here, helped us become a national wildlife certified habitat community. Hundreds of citizens on their own initiative, residents, certified their yards to provide, to document that they provide habitats, food sources, water sources, sources for insects, animals to produce young, and the village endorsed that. And why? Because we value that as a community. So all these holistically fit together in terms of what we want Lake Bluff to be. And that is an environment that supports not only our citizens, but all of our community of trees, birds, insects, wildlife. And I'd ask you, does gas-powered leaf blowers fit into that vision? Does it fit into that holistic view? And I think we all know the answer. It's not, of course it doesn't. Not only are they noisy and the decibels are such of a range that they penetrate houses and yards, it disrupts the birds. Yes. So I'd ask you just to step up and let's just make this decision because it already fits into what you've decided we want Lake Bluff to be. Last point real quickly. We are living in very anxious times right now in this world, whether it's what's going on with wars, with school shootings, with our divisive politics, with our confusion about what science is and what medical things we should be listening to. We all are extremely anxious. And if we can't find solace and peace and quiet in our own houses and our yards, I think we are really failing our citizens here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. And actually, I should say that two people on this board are wilderness habitat houses. But we'll give you the direction of what we think. The one thing I would like to make very clear is we want to make the right decision. Okay, so we want to get the right decision for what the environment allows us to what technology and people for cleanup can do. We're not saying that we won't leaf blowers, gas leaf blowers. We're not saying that. We want to do the right thing. So what Drew is saying is, no, let's have data backing up what we're doing today. We're not saying we are not saying we are resisting this effort. We want to do the right thing. So just to make that very clear.
Hi, good evening. I'm Steve Leventhal. I live at 51 Warrington Armour Woods. And I just wanted to say, in college, I was a double major in biology and chemistry. So I'm well-versed in the harmful effects of gas-powered engines, and what it can do to the environment. And as I see the people engaging, and they're still using gas-powered shrub and gas-powered mowers. So it really is imperative on us to take the right step and to engage with the electric devices. I bought a leaf blower 5 years ago. It works great, and I guarantee you the technology has improved significantly since then. You want to spend the money to do a study? You can, I guess, if you want the sort of hard evidence, but it just makes sense, and we have to look at it from two perspectives. One, at the local level, we have to lead by example. At the highest levels of government, they're doing a lot of things to undermine what makes sense. So we should lead by example, join the other communities, and to ban gas-powered devices as much as possible. It just makes sense. And it may cost a little bit more, but look at what's going to be good for your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren, and future generations. Please, let's lead by example and join the other communities and do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
Hello, I'm Ed Duffy from 407 East Prospect, and I just wanted to say that I've really enjoyed the 6-month ban on gas-powered leaf blowers. I'm urging you to vote for a 9-month ban, carry it forward, and hopefully we can get to a 12-month ban at some point in the future. I signed the petition, and I'm enjoying the quiet during the 6-month, relative quiet. Some of the electric ones are kind of loud too, but I'm just urging you to move forward and get to 9 months, okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Ed.
Hi, I'm Luciana Titanic from 410 East Prospect. I want to first thank you for having the 6-month ban, 6.5-month ban. It's been so peaceful, and I want to thank the administration and the Lake Bluff police officers for the enforcement this year. This year was so much better than last year, the enforcement. So it's been way quieter. So I just wanted to thank you for that. I want to play a little audio while I speak so we can remember how not peaceful these pieces of equipment can be. So I'm with Ed. I would love to have a 12-month ban so that we can really enjoy the peace and quiet of this village of Lake Bluff full time. I want to ask the people who are here today, there are several people. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? It's hard to hear when I have this sound in the background. It's even harder when I'm trying to work on budget spreadsheets or on legal documents or meeting over Zoom with my boss, the CEO of a big company. So it's really disruptive. I just want to ask, who is here today in support of a 9-month ban on these machines? Please keep your hands raised because Nancy is going to count. In the meantime, we can listen to our sponsors. Okay, we have 13 people today here. Let the notes show, but we had more than 430 people signing our petition. So please remember that these are our residents. These are the people who live here, who chose Lake Bluff, who want to be a part of this community and who want it to be a peaceful community. So let's get rid of this sound. Oh my gosh, it's so much better. So thank you for your attention and thank you for considering this matter.
Thank you,
9
Sienna.
months, starting on December 1st of this year, please.
Thank you, Sienna.
Thank you.
Any additional comments regarding leaf blowers, or do we have our third type of comments?
Hi, I'm Jennifer Leventhal from 51 Warrington Drive, and I suffer from seasonal allergies. I can't sleep with the windows anymore open, much to my chagrin. I love the fresh air, but it causes me to get bronchitis. And these gas-powered blowers that are so strong put more of that pollen, put more of the dust, put more things in the air. And it's definitely, there's a cause and effect studies out there. I don't know exactly one, but I've talked to some of my resources. I'd be happy to find them that do increase those allergies in the air. And it would be nice to have anything that can be done to reduce it. It's not gonna make mine go away, but to make it better for me to breathe during the pollen season would be appreciated. So I'd appreciate a 9-month ban. And if someone could tell me what you have to leaf blow in December to March, I'd really appreciate it. But please consider the 9 months.
Thanks, Jen.
Nancy Delvo, 230 East Sheridan Place. I got an email. Do you know Beth Drucker, Drew?
I think so.
Yeah. So she sent me an email today that that maybe contacting Mike Brayman and Wilmette.
Village manager, yep.
Yeah. 11 communities did a government-run study, a government-run 18-month study about whether or not restrictions made sense. The study is available on the Highland Park government website. This additional study is to see whether or not electric leaf blowers are strong enough to take care of spring and fall cleanups is really meant for the communities that are interested in banning them for 12 months out of the year. At this point, most communities have a 9-month ban, allowing them 1 month in the spring and 2 months in the fall. And that's from Go Green Wilmette, Go Green Illinois. So if you know Mike Brayman.
I'm on the committee with them.
Okay, good deal. Yeah, so we're all for it.
Okay.
We got 430.
Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you.
Any more comments regarding the leaf blowers? Any additional comments regarding, yes, Pam?
You okay?
Sure. Are we?
Okay, I'll forward it to you all. I'll share it to you all. I'll forward it out to you.
Okay, all right, perfect.
Requires Instagram. Or TikTok, I don't know. I'm not on TikTok, I don't know.
Thank you. So any additional comments above and beyond leaf blowers?
I just want to correct, it's currently a 4.5-month ban, and we're asking that you move to a 9-month ban. So I just didn't want people confused.
Yep.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Stephanie?
Sitting here doing the math.
I have for the board.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Drew got his early.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I can pass it for you.
You know what, I've got them, I've just
Okay.
split.
Okay,
Okay.
Got enough for everybody.
okay, thank you.
I am Stephanie Bjork. My husband and I own 414 East Prospect. And it is according to Elmer Liad, it is the prototype camp meeting house that was built and detailed in the 1877 booklet. Our title carries the 1877 restrictions as well. The house is completely compliant with the original setback lines that were described. An issue came up within the last month or so that caused me to research at Drew's request to get the restrictions on title, not just the plat that is shown, but the actual restrictions that should have been, and I believe were filed with that. What has transpired is that when I put in FOIAs to the library, the History Museum, and the village for those documents, so that I could have the discussion on a building permit that I believed had been issued, perhaps that should not have been issued, and I was going to challenge that. I needed the document. And in the past, I've been able to access those documents through the History Museum, through their computer set up on the Past Perfect Online. They run that database. It appears now that I received no response back. The library doesn't have records. The village apparently doesn't have those records. And what I can see online in little snippets of the History Museum, which obviously aren't usable other than to roughly see what's there, are essentially being withheld, and I received absolutely no response. So I have told Drew that I believe those documents that are at the History Museum should be public records. I believe that I've used them in the past for research, and I think it's concerning that those would be held back under a 501c3 restriction when I believe those are public records. So I actually think, and I understand the point that as a 501c3, they can rightfully shield those, but I think it's a very, that it just shouldn't be that way. So if that's not something that we can get access to, and Drew is working on that as well, I feel strongly to go to the Illinois Attorney General and ask him to weigh in on that issue. I passed out to the board what I think is a very important recent article on conservation easement tax law, particularly as it pertains to the federal and the local. It's very, very well done. Nancy McLaughlin is a professor, but she is also the lead person to advise the IRS in drafting tax law. So it's not only important to me that 1877 document is fully, it restricts me on my title. I'm subject to it. And these are obviously federal perpetual documents. So as the attorney in our case said, they must have missed the day in law school when perpetuity was defined as something other than forever and a day. And my title was showing the 1877 restrictions, I think, backs that up. So I would really like to ask, and I knew Drew was working on that, and I appreciate that when I raised the issue with the president, that he also encouraged me to come and make my points. It is timely that I walked into, and I apologize for interrupting. I didn't realize the committee of the whole was starting early. I had wanted to come and put the documents down so that I didn't interrupt the meeting. It's exactly to the points that I've made in the past before this group, that we're looking at 20% year over year, back to back tax increases, property tax increases, and in large part, to be honest with you, I believe the revenue needed is not going down, but the sources of the funds lessen, and certainly these easements that are for the benefit of the public are substantial easements granted to the owners of these properties, and we have several very large parcels that I think this article very, very cleanly lays out that historic preservation and development is a battle that I think is ongoing.
Stephanie, one more minute.
Oh.
1 minute.
Okay, I'm good.
You're good?
I will leave this all with you, but I think it's an important issue because we're all making up, those of us not receiving the benefit are making up the shortfall.
Mhm.
Thank you.
President Charlo, can I ask Stephanie a question?
Sure.
Or-
Stephanie, you have a question to trustee Alshimas?
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bjork. I have a question. I'm trying to understand the request. Is the request that the village intervene or something with the History Museum? I'm just
I believe.
plainly speaking, what's the request?
I believe that the records at the History Museum, which were always accessible to me through the library, which is obviously a public entity, and they are in large part the village documents and records were in the possession of Elmer Vliet, who was president at the time, I think, for a substantial amount of time and had a substantial amount of history. And so now that they have gone into the History Museum and the History Museum has set themselves up as a 501c3, they're no longer public records.
They're no longer a public body and they're. purported as a
And
public body.
as far as I'm concerned, that's wrong.
Understood.
So what I have asked Drew to do, because I've raised, I think, significant, substantial issues, and I feel, to be very honest with you, our home is compliant with the 1877 plat. We have spent a very substantial amount of money with surveyors who originally laid out Lake Forest and have records back to the beginning of Lake Bluff. We have done an amazing amount of research, and preservation requires that those document restrictions are enforced. And that's the purpose of, it's important that those are public records and they're being shielded with the History Museum. And that's concerning to me, to be honest with you. They were always accessible to me, but they are no longer.
So, I mean, the best thing we can do is take this offline to help you, okay?
Yes.
From my standpoint, I have never heard Mrs. O'Hara and the History Museum trying to shield records from the rest of us, for example. So it's really very much, I hear you very well. I understand what you're asking for. It's concerning, fine. And so, but let's take this off, because if we can help you, if we can find those documents, great.
Yeah,
But from my standpoint, I don't understand why the History Museum would be a place of legal record. That is my concern.
Mhm.
Is it?
What is your concern?
That the History Museum would be a place of legal records,
Public record.
public records.
I think from time to time, the village is disposed of documents, and we have to follow a procedure prescribed by state law on how we dispose of documents, and we bring them to you and say, hey, we're gonna get rid of these documents unless somebody says something. And sometimes the History Museum says, if you're throwing away, we'll take them. And I think a lot of their inventory has been built like that over the years.
But I thought that our documents were macrofilmed also.
Well, within recent history, yes, we've done that for the purpose of, but if you ask for a building permit from 25 years ago, 30 years ago, we may not have all the files, it's just.
Okay.
So
Thank you, Stephanie.
Kept as long as they had to be kept as a
under the
public
law,
record.
yes,
And perhaps some might have been disposed upon after their life as
Yes.
a public record in a manner that transferred them to the History Museum.
they took them out of our trash, so to speak. Right. Yeah,
Yeah, okay. And so rather than them being shredded,
correct.
some of them are there.
Yeah.
And I guess,
And so people don't wonder or worry. I mean, like the minutes of the village, everything behind us, right? These are the old original minutes and, those documents.
yeah,
And there are a number of documents going back to the original ordinances, like we have a lot of the original documents, but we don't have everything.
yes.
So how can we help Mrs. Bjork?
I would say only tonight I found out the exact document she was seeking.
well,
Yeah, you texted, yes, and I confirmed it tonight. And so now I know what she's looking for, and I will ask the History Museum if they have that document.
Okay,
Because we
so-
don't have it, because I looked today in Village Hall.
So we have people aligned with your request. We'll follow up with you.
But
okay?
the document that we talked about predates the Villages Incorporation, just to be clear. Yeah.
And I'd just like to point out, if I could, Mike Croak here, the land records should be recorded with the county recorder's office. So when we're speaking of official legal documents, as far as land records, those should be recorded at the county recorder's office.
The plat is, but the terms and conditions of the 1877 that are in that meeting book that I've shown through, and I can clearly see it's document 390, and then there's an 1877 book, I can see them on the Past Perfect Online, and so I've seen them in the past, and now
Yeah, I
I
can't.
can't. So, I appreciate your time. My title in my home is subject to that, and the plat is recorded, and it's still, when we speak about professional federal arrangement, it's still in play. Or it would be on play. And it's still on all of those camp meeting lots.
Mm.
So it's, when we're discussing the fact that the village is concerned about historic preservation, and we're also concerned about the tax base, we need to sort out how we handle it. So I appreciate everybody's time, and I didn't mean to.
No, you're
But
fine. Thank you.
Clearly, I don't have the,
Thank you.
the people.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you.
Somehow, I issued it, like, so I need to work on mine. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Moving forward, and that will be with the village board sets the order of a meeting. Do we have any requests?
Yes, you do. Item 15. Do you have an item? You have an item you want to take early? I'm sorry. Item 15.
Got it. Without objections, moving on to item 15 on the board. No objection. Moving forward to item 15. Item 15 is a resolution approving waiver of bid and the execution of an agreement with Pierce Manufacturing, Inc. for pump repair to Fire Department 2006 Pierce Saber pumper truck. Is there a motion to approve this resolution?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you. And specifically, this resolution is about the Lake Bluff Fire Department relies on 6 apparatus to respond, attack, confine, and extinguish fire when they occur with minimal loss of life and property. Engine 4520 is a 2006 Pierce Saber rear mount pumper with seating for 6 500-gallon water tank, 1,500 gallon per minute, 1,000 feet of 4 and 600 feet of 2.5 hoses, and auto extrication gear. Is the first rescue engine due into any type of rescue calls that includes auto, elevator, high angle, water, hazmat, and trench, and is certified with an ALS response vehicle. This pumper truck has been out for service over the past several weeks with a damaged pump. Unfortunately, fire department attempts to repair the pump have not been successful. One repair business ceased operations before completing the necessary repairs. The second repair business decided not to complete the repairs after holding onto the truck for several days. After exhausting all over avenues, the fire chief is recommending the village to have the pumper truck manufacturer repair the truck at its Midwest Regional Service Center in Weyowega, Wisconsin. Okay, fine. The proposal from, I was not expecting that. People. The proposal from Pierce Manufacturing, Inc. is for a fee of $70,600 plus a contingency of $14,120 for a total of $84,720. The village fiscal year budget contains adequate funding for this repair within the equipment replacement fund, and it is recommended that the village board approve the agreement for an amount not to exceed $85,000.
Chief Marsh is here if there's questions.
I actually have a question that is actually quite important for our board and our community. I read a few weeks ago an article that I forwarded you where
Open it, yeah.
You-
Private equity, yeah.
so basically, there are three providers of fire trucks nationwide, all in Wisconsin. The fire trucks used to be 250 grand, now it's $2 million. So now communities that we've, not the budget we have, our resort is to buy pickup trucks. And so I'm concerned about this equipment that is 2006 and our next equipments and what is the future of our equipment in the firehouse.
Well,
Mhm.
the future really is displayed on our past. We keep these engines in tip-top shape
Mhm.
and we keep them for 30 years. Most fire departments that run thousands of calls a year, they get maybe 8, 10 years out of them and they're gone. They're just worn out. Doing a repair on this will ensure that we'll have it for another 10 to 15 more years.
Okay.
And I'm saying over the years, the village has come up with creative solutions to maintain our fleet. Sometimes we partnered with the city of Lake Forest to acquire pieces of apparatus and shared the cost that way. We are now at, we talked about the funding for this repair coming from the equipment replacement fund. The village sets aside money to replace its fleet, and we are pricing it in such a way to account for this much higher cost. And it's showing up with the transfers to the fund, but we are trying to accommodate that these things are over $2 million and they take 48 months to get. So the planning, we've already started talking about this internally about how we replace the next apparatus in our fire station. So, like I said, we'll pursue every alternative that's out there, but for now, one of our key pieces is in need of repair that cannot be done locally, and we've tried 2 different outfits.
We've exhausted
Yeah,
all of our options.
so, and we talked with the attorney and just out of an abundance of caution, put on there, we're waiving competitive bid, but it's not like we didn't try and we had it in other people's shops, literally sitting in their shops, and they
Yeah.
said, sorry, we're not gonna tackle this. And there's certain certifications that have to go with the person's performing the repairs to make sure the
Absolutely.
pumps are, yeah, so this is not getting your oil changed, right? This is a very specialized, customized piece of equipment. And it's a lot of labor.
Yeah. I mean, as usual, we are supportive of fire departments for the work we do for our community.
And it's greatly appreciated. Thank
Yep. Any questions on the board? Rafi?
Chief, I got a question.
Sure.
I definitely want to do everything I can to support you and your department and give you the tools you need. I'm going to be voting yes tonight to support this. My question are about the 2 repair businesses. Can you tell me a little bit more about why they didn't repair it, couldn't repair it, refused to repair it?
The first one, they went out of business. They closed their doors. I think it was more of a coincidence than us being there. They hadn't even started on it yet.
Okay.
But they thought that they could handle it for considerably less money, but everybody else we talked to thought that it's not going to be the case. There's a lot of work involved just getting to the pump to replace the housing that's damaged on it. I don't think there aren't very many people that know how to do this, for one. It's a specialized, custom built. Pierce built a lot of them in the early 2000s. And of course, we've got one of the last ones on the road because we take such good care of our stuff. So there aren't very many people that are experienced in getting at this pump. There's a lot of stuff that has to be removed to get to it. I think we've exhausted all of the other options that we could think of, and actually wasted probably 4 weeks trying to get this thing fixed.
Thanks, Chief.
Yep. Thank you, Shayna and Kat and Suzanne. Questions to Chief?
No.
No. Thank you. It is a roll call vote. Clerk.
When the village president votes, we need a supermajority vote.
Okay. It is a roll call vote. Clerk?
All right, trustee Fried,
Aye.
trustee Hatch,
Aye.
trustee Ryder,
Aye.
trustee Elshmaz,
Aye.
President Charlo.
Absolutely, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your service to our community. Resuming the order of meeting, And that would be item 7A. Our village finance report. And get back together. This is item 7A, our warrants report for August 26 to September 8, 2025. Is there a motion to approve this warrants report?
So moved. Second.
Thank you. And this, the warrants report is for expenditure of village funds for payments of invoices in the amount of $381,837.53 for August 26 to September 8, 2025. So for total expenditures of $381,837.53. Questions to Drew and Bettina?
I fielded a few before. Trustee Eshel-Mas had some questions about some of the items, and you did as well.
I saw a couple things on it, and I was not clear to what the extent was, given that we have multiple construction projects going in town, and that was for Gewalt Hamilton, that is management, construction management for $44,311, and I was unclear to what management it was.
Predominantly the village's road program, the overseeing of our 2025 road program.
And I had a question about Howie security for the Lake Bluff Bike Race 2025. So for $2,300, $2,400. So I was wondering what was the agreement with the bike race?
So, and that's a question that the village has supported certain special events to some, I would call it a limited degree over the years. One has been the parade, one has been the bike race, and Rib Fest have been the ones that the village has really promoted and supported over the years. The bike race this year, we got in a situation, historically, we relied on the Lake County Auxiliary Sheriff's deputy force to provide support for us with the bike race promoter, director has paid that fee over the years. This year, it's tough to find sheriff's deputies now. And the idea that this forced people volunteer to sign up for this. And so the numbers have been down, and that was not satisfactory to the chief. And post Highland Park parade shooting, we've been very extra careful and cautious about making sure we're having adequate resources at our special events. And so we actually split the cost with the bike race person this year when we got down to the wire and said we weren't going to have enough deputies. And so we'll talk about it next year. You just never know when the number is going to hit. So it was a couple $1,000s. So not a lot of money, but to help ensure public safety. So.
And we support that. Thank you.
Yep.
You had questions?
No additional questions.
Any more questions on the board to Drew? It is a roll call. Clerk, please call a roll.
Trustee Eshel-Mas?
Aye.
Trustee Fried?
Aye.
Trustee Hatch?
Aye. Sorry.
And Trustee Ryder?
Aye.
Thank you. Next is our village administrator's report.
I have no report.
Thank you, followed by our village attorney's report.
No report.
Thank you. I have a report tonight. Unfortunately, Trustee Steve Rappin provided his resignation effective August 26 due to his work and personal travel schedule. And we received a resignation letter that was notarized. Quoting Steve, he is not able to commit focus time the village deserves out of a trustee. Steve would welcome the opportunity to serve in the village in other capacities, and Steve is very appreciative of the excellent stewardship as well as the commitment of fellow board members. Steve is a friend. I will miss Steve's participation to village board and finance committee matters. We have, thinking about one member missing to our board, we have a specific process to fill this vacant seat. And those are many. Because there are less than 28 months left in the unexpired term, the village president appoints a candidate to fill the trustee's rep in office. The appointment by the village president must be made within 60 days of a vacancy occurring and acted upon by the village board within the following 30 days. If the nomination fails to receive the advice and consent of the village board, the village president must recommend a second candidate. If that nomination again fails, the village president would have the power to unilaterally appoint a temporary candidate to the vacant position without board approval. In accordance with the Open Meeting Act, the village board is authorized to discuss the selection of persons to fill public office in closed session. And I would also add that trustee Rappin's resignation also triggers a vacancy of a finance committee of the village board. That is concerning to me, given the amount of public work we have going on for our streets and next bridge. From my standpoint, I am considering the next 21 months and a currently vacant position on the finance committee, and also considering our current village infrastructure work, including Sheridan Road, Green Bay Road, and the stormwater tunnel. I want to fill this position with an experienced community leader, somebody who would not need to basically come up to par for the work on this board, knowing about the mechanics of a board. This is what I mean by that, with significant finance experience. And I would absolutely kill for an engineering background, but that's me. And so we have work and we're looking at candidates, and that's where I am for my report. Any comments on the board?
I think you're right, Regis, to be looking for someone who can jump right in. I think that makes a lot of sense.
It's a short term, 21 months. The elections will next say what happens on this board, but for the short term, for the time being, we have work to be done. And so this is my concern. And again, it might never materialize, or if it materializes, it might be painful, and I want to be prepared for it. And that's where I would stand. Last comments? Thank you. Moving forward. Next would be our consent agenda. And that would be for item 11, the acceptance of a correspondence. That would be correspondence was delivered to the Village Board of Trustees in the informational report on August 29 and September 5. And item 12, the second reading of an ordinance granting a special use permit and variation for a specialty automobile dealership at 924 Sherwood Drive. Is there a request to remove any of these items from the consent agenda? I do not see the motion. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved. Second.
Thank you. Any discussions on these items? Hearing none, our clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Hatch,
Aye.
trustee Ryder,
Aye.
trustee El Shmaz,
Aye.
and trustee Fried.
Aye.
Thank you. Next is an ordinance designating the building located at 456 Sunrise Avenue as a Lake Bluff historic landmark. Is there a motion to approve this ordinance?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you. As a summary of background, on June 19, 2025, the village received an application from property owners Todd Porter and Susan Ryder to locally landmark their Queen Anne style home at 456 Sunrise Avenue. The Honeywell Bill House, also known as the Avewell Cottage, was built in 1889 as a summer home to be shared by the families of Abner Honeywell and Dr. Gaylord Evans, prominent Methodist from downstate Illinois. Evans was head of the Camp Meeting Association's cultural programs. Honeywell's daughter, and son-in-law, Reverend of the Camp Meeting, Reverend and Mrs. Bill, I'm sorry about that, came to live with the Honeywells, and several more additions and modifications were made. The granddaughters, Yolande and Cornelia Bill, lived in the house until the mid-70s. The Honeywell Bill House is one of the original camp meeting houses and was located in or adjacent to the artists' colony. Major renovations and additions have taken place over the years, but the front facade, that is beautiful by the way, retains its original features. Also of note, this home is on the HBC's priority landmark list. At its August 13, 2025 regular meeting, the HBC unanimously recommended that the village board designates the residential building as a Lake Bluff historic landmark. If approved, this would be the village's 29th active landmark, and 36 in total.
So the record should reflect that trustee Ryder has recused herself and has left the dais. The minutes should reflect that and will be not participating in the discussion or deliberation or the vote of this matter.
Thank you. Any comment on the board for regarding this historic landmark? No comment. Rafi and Sheena? Any questions?
There's another one coming to you next meeting, and I think there's 2 more in the pipeline, so lots of activity coming out of the HPC.
Thank you. This house is truly special. I've been in Lake Bluff for over 30 years and actually 30 years. And I've seen that house from the very first day, and it's a beautiful house. It is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you, and the motion carries.
Congratulations, Susan.
First read.
Next item is item 14, an ordinance amending Title 6 and 7 of the Lake Bluff Municipal Code regarding motorized vehicles as restrictions on e-devices such as e-bikes, e-scooters, etc. Is there a motion to approve this ordinance?
So moved.
Second.
In response to safety concerns expressed by residents and merchants, village staff presented draft regulations for e-motor-driven vehicles within the central business district to the committee of the whole on July 14th. During that meeting, village board members, residents, and staff discussed possible use limitations in details, and there was a consensus that any village code revisions be clear, enforceable, and consistent with state law and, to the extent feasible, neighboring communities. With that direction, village staff worked with a village attorney to prepare updates to the village code, which were presented at the July 20th COW meeting. As you will recall, the draft ordinance folded e-motor device regulations into the existing bike regulations to provide necessary operational limitations, such as speed restrictions, rider limits, walk devices in the CBD, and so on, without significantly restricting community transportation needs. Over the past few weeks, staff has worked with the village attorney to further refine the draft regulations. Should the village board adopt the attached regulations, staff will utilize its standard communication channels and work with the Lake Bluff School District to educate local youth on proper bicycle and e-vehicle use. I'm actually thankful to Trustee Ryder for stressing simple and making it simple. And I had the chance to explain that to other communities, informal discussions, and people got it right away. There was no hesitation. So thank you for that.
I would point out, if I may.
Absolutely.
So 3 things. The first, the ordinance at the dais is slightly different. There was one typo that we found after scrubbing this a lot. I became victim of too much review, and I started pulling out a string earlier, and there's other sections in our code that you can tell by the language in there about driving on sidewalks. There's also right below that section that's it's on page 13 in red here, talks about playing on running boards. There's archaic language. You keep going into this, like, where does it end? And I think we found the end of it here, but this is just to give greater clarity because there was some, just to make it as simple and as clear as possible and consistent. We tugged on that string, and that's where it ended, including that language on it to just say that except as provided otherwise in the code, this is what's allowed. And so in terms of who's allowed on code and on sidewalks and roadways, et cetera. The table is largely what you had seen before at the committee of the whole, but that's a document that we plan on using to get it out to the schools and make it crystal clear. As President Charlo mentioned, we were in a meeting with other chief elected administrative officials on the North Shore talking about our regulations that ours certainly seem the most simple, the most practical. And I think to the board's credit in terms of the direction on this document, the problem that was trying to be solved, I think number one was using the existing state regulations to go after the e-dirt bikes. I think there's been great success from our police department enforcing those regulations, working with a number of juveniles. And I think that's under control, at least to a good degree that people have noticed it and we're just not getting calls. And I think that's what the biggest indicator, because we were getting a lot of calls. I did take a call today from a merchant in the downtown talking about scooters. Kids get out of school, they drive through the downtown on their scooters. I said, well, your timing is good. Considering the ordinance tonight, which will say, it's not please be kind and walk it, is you have to walk it or there's consequences. So, I think the board's talked about that. At this point, it's really more of a communication issue now, I think, from the board's direction. And Matt has already been talking with our local school administrators about how we're going to handle that. And there's a great amount of cooperation and us, again, just like this ordinance, folding it into the bicycle regulations, doing the same with our ongoing bicycle training and curriculum at the middle school and elementary school. So that's the plan of attack, and happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Are we going to have a program as you had a couple of years ago, going to elementary school where you get to demonstrate with Eric?
Yeah, well, Marshall's at college now, so we're still trying to figure that out though. So we'll see if we can.
As you know, Eric, Deputy Chief's son, is, I would almost say, I guess he's still amateur, but he's also
International-ish
the
known.
rock star on a bicycle.
Yeah.
Competing on mountain bikes as well as BMX.
Wow.
And he's
So we said that
kind of a-
if Marshall can't make it, we're gonna let Eric jump over the principal, which I don't know if he likes. So
You think he's gonna be ready?
Do we have a plan to, what is going to be the plan for education to the school?
sure. So good question. We actually started today doing a safety video. We're trying to do more with Austin Johnson, their safety and security director, who's in place now between Lake Bluff and Libertyville. So we're trying to we're going to splice it together, a little safety video, sort of kind of teeing a little bit of this up. And I want to come back with him and do a little bit more with our bike officers and kind of try to pull this together. So that's what I'm going to ask him on the next part of that, is to be a little more specific. You know, once we actually get this passed, we know it's in effect. It's going to be really nice for us to do maybe a video out, you know, in the central business district, kind of explain, you know, be clear about it, right? This is where you can't ride these things, right? This is where you need to walk them. And hopefully that will kind of help alleviate that potential of kids taking those, or anyone taking those through the business district.
Thank you. I've received the directive from past village presidents that you need to educate often and as soon as possible. Somebody will smile on camera.
Love the chart. I think it's exactly what we need. I have one question that I should have noticed before. And where it's pink in the middle, page 17 of 17 on this item, so it's the very last item. Where it's pink in the middle, it says prohibited sidewalks outside the CBD. Aren't we saying walk only? Isn't it the same as in this? I mean, obviously, if somebody has to get their e-bike from one point to another, they can walk it on the sidewalk. I'm just,
Right. So it's not, you can't ride them. So by state law, you cannot ride the e-bikes on these sidewalks. They're supposed to be in the roadways.
so to the extent we
So-
say walk only with regard to the central business district, aren't we also saying
Okay to walk.
walk
Walk
only?
only.
Yeah, walk. Mhm.
We can do that.
Yeah, it's a minor point, but I love the red prohibited on the e-motorcycles over there at the side. And it just seems like that should be gray, walk only.
I see what you're saying. Yep.
Mhm.
Got it.
Thank you.
President Charlo, quick comment.
Go ahead.
I think the goal of this was public safety, keeping our kids safe, keeping our residents safe. I think we've accomplished it. So thank you, Chief. Thank you to your department. Thanks to the staff to get us to this point. True. Thank you.
Thank you.
It is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. And the
Thank you.
motion carries. Next item is item 16, a resolution approving a professional engineering services agreement with A and Associates, Inc. For the Birch and Bluff Roads ravine stabilization project. Is there a motion to approve this resolution?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. The second?
Okay.
Second?
Yeah.
Second by Sheila. In recent year, the erosion of a ravine located between Birch Road and Bluff Road has resulted in the loss of tableland in the rear yards in certain homes on Birch Road. If allowed to continue, additional tableland will be lost on both sides of a ravine, and the south side of Lake Bluff Road could be impacted. Village staff has been monitoring this area and believes that it is time to initiate a ravine stabilization project to limit further erosion. Village staff previously met with an engineer from Hay and Associates to discuss options for stabilizing the bottom of the ravine and requested a proposal to provide engineering services to prepare a ravine stabilization project for bidding. The proposal includes the design, permitting, and bidding for a project to stabilize the ravine with a fee not to exceed $35,000. The village fiscal year 2026 capital fund budget includes $35,000 for the design and bidding of the project and included $350,000 in the projected fiscal year 2027 project for construction. Goal number 4 of the village 2023 strategic plan includes action items to set the standard for public ravine maintenance and to continue a leadership stance on stormwater management. This project is a step towards meeting our goal and to enhance our natural environment. The village engineer recommends approval of the agreement. Questions to Drew and Jeff?
When do we anticipate the work might happen? We got a lot going on. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, this will probably be, so if we get the engineering done this fall, we can go into budget season with knowing what our construction budget should be and then bid probably in the spring for summer construction. I have to check with our consultant, what's the very best time to do this sort of work. I tend to think it's when it's the driest in July and August, but he's been doing this for 20 plus years. So probably the best time to do it is.
Roughly a year from now,
Yes.
or a little sooner. Okay, thanks. Everything else will be all cleared up by then.
Maybe.
Any more questions to Jeff? Thank you. It is a roll call vote. Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee El Shmaz,
Aye.
trustee Fried,
Aye.
trustee Hatch.
Aye.
And trustee Ryder.
Aye.
Thank you. Next, on our agenda is our trustees report. Do the trustee wish to make any comments tonight or report tonight? And do not see any reports moving forward. And that would be for consideration of the August 25, 2025 executive session meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve these meeting minutes?
Motion to approve. Second?
Thank you. Are there any changes to these minutes or any concern? Seeing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Voice vote.
It's a voice vote. So all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Next on our agenda is our executive session. And tonight, may I have a motion to go into closed session for the purpose of discussing selection of persons to fill public office for 5 ILCS 120/2.c.3 and for litigation supported by 5 ILCS 120/2C11 sections pursuant to the Illinois Open Meetings Act, and that upon the adjournment of this closed session, this regular meeting will be deemed to automatically be adjourned by the same vote without the conduct of any further business. Motion to go in session.
Motion to
Motion.
approve.
Thank you. This is roll call.
All right, trustee El Shamas,
Aye.
trustee Fried,
Aye.
trustee Hatch.
Aye.
Trustee Ryder.
Aye.
Thank you. This concludes the open part of a village board meeting. Thank you very much for attending our meeting tonight and good night.